Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
It is picked off by the line. Darius Slay's got it. Coming back right side 25. Picks up a block at the 30. Darius at the 40.
Drink it in, drink it in. Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Rolls to the right. Stafford throws deep. Got a man out there. End zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Marvin Jones.
Drink it in, drink it in.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Cornbread.
Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, what is going on, everybody? We are here on a Monday. Fantasy football flavor F3 is in the building. Chuck, what's going on, buddy? Ready to talk some fantasy football and let me drop some knowledge on you or what?
What up, Oak? What up, people? Yes, sir. Let's get on it.
Let's do this dang thing. And man, it is heating up, man. We were in this is kind of first, second week of August. This is when people are diving into fantasy football. I mean, you and at least one other person is out there getting a magazine, trying to figure out what's going on. And people are trying to study up because mid to end of the month, man, people are going to be doing fantasy drafts. So this is the show where me and you chop it up, talk about all things fantasy football. There's no other place to start, buddy, than starting right off with Antonio Brown. I mean, this guy has been an absolute top flight receiver, doing big things in Pittsburgh. They kind of got sick of him, went out to Oakland, signed a big contract. Now, within the last week, as Hard Knocks gets going on HBO, we hear this dude fried his feet in some type of cryo chamber of some sort. Thought he would just walk in there barefoot. I don't know what's going on there. And then the dude's got some issue with his helmet, saying he's going to give up $40 million if he can't wear this old scraggly helmet he's had on since probably playing for the Chippewas. I mean, talk to me about Antonio Brown. What do you think's going on? Does this impact his fantasy football draft stock? I mean, what's going on with this guy? This is a guy I think is still a top flight receiver.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely still a top flight receiver for sure. The problem is with that helmet thing is that his high top fade will not fit in the new helmets. So if he has to get those new helmets, he's going to have to get a haircut. And I don't think that's going to fit well with Antonio Brown.
What is he rocking now? Because he's had some dues and he went to that blonde mustache. I mean, what's going on with this guy as far as look these days?
I think he got rid of the blonde mustache, but I think he's still got that pyramid high top fade that kind of goes in a Snake Mountain look kind of thing.
Okay.
I think he's still got
that doesn't work in the helmet though.
No, not in those new helmets, but in the old style helmet, you can still get that in there to squish it down a little bit. But they just don't fit well in those new helmets. I liked it better when he had the fade stairs, where you had a little bit of step here and then a step up and then another step up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those would fit well in the new hyperspeed helmets. But as far as getting, I don't know how you get your feet frostbit, man. I'm not sure how you do that. I've never been in one of those cryogenic treatments that he was in. I know he's done quite a few of them, but it seemed like he would know that he had to wrap his feet on something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how do you not know? My other conspiracy theory is just these vets don't want to be doing all this BS they do at training camp. So he might have, I'm sure he's not missing all the running, all the different stuff they're doing. Antonio Brown's in shape. He's ready to go. I had a draft, which we'll talk about later here on the show, and everybody was steering away from him. Everybody's scared. It's kind of you don't think this guy's going to be ready to rock and roll come September. You don't think he's going to play when he's got 30 to 40 million bucks locked up. The Raiders paid him. And, the feet's a little bit of an issue, but I mean, we're not asking him to play tomorrow. I was hearing the radio saying he might not be ready till mid-season with these feet. I'm I've heard a couple doctors say the dude's going to be fine, but yeah, he's got a few weeks he needs to be off these things to get these puppies back going. So I feel good about him. I mean, again, back to fantasy football. Are you moving him up and down your board, or where are you taking Antonio Brown these days?
I still like him in the first round. I still think he's up there in like you said in the top. I still got him in the top 3-4 receivers. I think he's going to get the ball force fed to him, so he's still going to put up numbers. They didn't go out and get him for nothing. So you're going to see Derek Carr just slinging it to him, and I think he's going to catch majority of them, he's going to put up some big numbers, I still think.
Yeah, that's a little bit of drop the hammer kind of alert by Chuck there. I mean, draft boards now, I've seen Antonio Brown going in the 3rd round. I see him down at the 7th, 8th receiver. I mean, this is the panic that I see from the fantasy community. So you're still not only believing in the guy, but you're basically not moving him at all, if not a lot higher, it sounds like, than most.
Yeah, I mean, if I have an early pick in the 1st round and this guy's coming back to me in the 2nd round, don't think I ain't pushing people out the way to get up there, put his name on the board. I mean, I don't know why he would still be there in the late 2nd round or anything like that. The guy's going to put up numbers. He's Antonio Brown. He does what he does. He's, like I said, he's going to get the ball force-fed to him. He's going to score some points.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to get the football. They're going to feature him. They have paid the guy. He has a burr under his saddle to show Pittsburgh that he is the man, and they shouldn't have got rid of him just because he's got an opinion and, like you said, got some funky hairstyles and pulled a few antics. So like I said, he's a beast on the field, works hard, puts up numbers. Yeah, diva, kind of crazy off the field. Yeah, but when he's healthy and he's in a good situation, the guy goes out and is absolutely a top 3 to 5 receiver. He's barely over 30 years old. I still love the guy, and I think all this is noise. This is what happens in fantasy football, man. Something comes up, and people just start freaking out, dropping people off the board, not taking him, and that's when you could really find some great value. So I'm definitely keeping him in that value range, not too worried about it, other than, I think his feet do need to heal up sooner than later, but, this stuff takes time. Hopefully it was just some crazy everything happened. Something crazy happened, and his feet got all messed up. I think it just needs some time, and that kind of stuff happens in life. So we'll see what happens with Antonio Brown. But let me throw this next one at you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think his biggest tragedy this year is going to be how is he going to wear that meat coat out there in Oakland or Los Angeles? It's hot. He can't wear that meat coat out in Pittsburgh. He got away with it, but you get out to the LA, man. Woo, it's hot out there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You already seen him wearing the neon spandex and I mean, he's gonna find a way to do something. So yeah, the mink might be back in Pittsburgh or in some other Arctic area, but Antonio Brown's gonna find a way to stand out. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I'll have to check eBay and see if that's on there.
Yeah, let me know on that. But speaking of for sale, Duke Johnson, man, this guy's been begging to get out of Cleveland, and of course, the old BS meter in the NFL is always going off when he wants to get out of town. They already got other good running backs, and you got everybody in Cleveland saying, "Oh no, we love Duke Johnson. He's going to make a lot of plays for us. We got big roles for him." Yeah, they slapped a priority mail sticker on his behind and sent him out of town to Houston this last week. I mean, what do you think about that trade? What do you think he can do in Houston? Does it impact his fantasy value at all?
Could he have landed in a better spot though? Seriously.
Oh, I love it.
Going out to Houston, he's already got a playmaking quarterback back there. I think he's got the top receiver in the league right now. He's going to go out there. He's going to make plays. He's obviously a lot better receiver than Lamar Miller is. He's a lot quicker than Lamar. I think he landed in a perfect spot out there in Houston, and I think he's gonna turn some heads and make some fantasy owners very proud this year.
Yeah, if you did your draft early, I mean, you got this guy at a crazy late value. Now he's in a great situation, as Chuck said there, and catch the football. I've never been a big Lamar Miller guy. I mean, he's been decent, but he's never going to give you ceiling. Duke Johnson's younger, I think has a different type of skill set. I think perfect little fit for Deshaun Watson there, and they already got receivers and stuff on the outside. So I think Duke could do big things out there. And like I say, interesting to see a trade like that kind of as camp gets kicked off. Definitely changes where this guy will go in drafts and what people think about him. Now, Chuck, let me hit you up with this one. Now, this comes from the one and only Grifka. This is a guy we've talked about on the show, a player before. Grifka has some serious opinions. So let me go ahead and play this quick sound clip. This was Grifka on a previous week's Koolaid Cast, and I want to get your reaction to it. So this is Grifka's take on the one and only, the guy with the most hype, one of the biggest playmakers in the league coming into this season. Everybody's got him on their radar. Baker Mayfield. This is what Grifka had to say.
I'm like, that's Baker Mayfield right there. Baker. Yeah. I just want to let you know. He sucks, okay? Yeah, there you go. Mark it down.
That's his take. I've got that on audio for the rest of the time. Grifka's never going to be able to say, "Oh man, I knew Baker Mayfield was going to be good." Oh, Okri, I was just giving you a hard time. I didn't really believe that. Yeah, it's on audio, Grifka. Chuck, what do you think about that take from Grifka? And please tell me you don't agree with that bunch of garbage.
Well, Baker Mayfield isn't that bad of a quarterback. He's got all the tools around him. Is he a high tier quarterback? Probably not. That's still to come, but he's going to have all the weapons to do what he can. He doesn't suck per se, like Grifka would say. But yeah, I think he's going to have a great season. I think he's perfect for what they need out there in Cleveland.
So you don't agree with this hot fire take from Grifka?
I'm like, that's Baker Mayfield right there. Baker. Yeah. I just want to let you know. He sucks, okay? Yeah, there you go. Mark it down.
Grifka, saying he sucks is not a take. Just ask Jim Rome. But I'm surprised, Chuck. I thought you were high on Baker Mayfield. You're saying, oh, he's not a top flight quarterback. Like, again, I'm putting this guy in my top 5, if not my top 3 quarterbacks for 2019.
Well, for fantasy football, yeah, I've got him way up there. Like I said, he's got everything around him. He is going to score a lot of points in fantasy football. But if you put him on, like I said, a lower tier team, yeah, he's not going to be that great of a quarterback, but he doesn't suck. I'm not going to say that he sucks. He could be a great quarterback with time to come. We just don't know that yet.
All right. Well, thank you, Grifka, for that gem of audio that I'm going to keep forever. And I also have another gem of audio that I'm going to use on Grifka a lot during probably this show and other shows, and it's this. You got anything else for the people that's actually worth a damn?
Nope.
I didn't think so. I might just use that after every time Grifka talks for the rest of time. I don't know, but that's in the soundboard as well now, Grifka. So thank you for that, Jim.
That's awesome.
So Chuck, next item. I want to know from you. We've talked about Melvin Gordon basically every week on the show. The word is that he's there hasn't been much talks. The last thing I heard was he just basically told the Chargers, like, hey, if you're not going to pay me, just trade me. Like, I want you to go on record right now, not only kind of what is going to happen with Melvin, but with this trade kind of demand or request. Do you think you'll go anywhere? And if so, do you have any targets in mind of where Melvin Gordon could fit?
As of right now, I think he's staying put. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the Chargers are just playing a little bit of hardball with him. See how the preseason goes. See how the other running backs do. But as of right now, I don't think they're going to trade him unless something crazy happens during the preseason, where one of the Chargers running backs just going off and he can't be stopped. But right now, I think they're going to hang on to him. I think eventually should get a deal done.
Well, that was kind of my take, but if I'm not hearing anything positive and he just seems fed up and saying, get me out of town, I've been leaning more towards this could be a longer holdout, or he could get dealt somewhere. And Houston was one of my spots. I mean, that's a team that has a defense. They got a quarterback. They got wide receivers. I felt like, man, Melvin could go to Houston, fit right in, give him the rock. I can't remember if I don't think he's from Texas. I think he's from up in Wisconsin where he went to school there or whatever. I can't remember, but I thought he would have been a great fit there. Now with Duke Johnson, that's obviously off the table. But gosh, man, I don't think it's looking good for this guy. He really seems dug in, and it's going to hurt a lot of fantasy teams if he's not ready to rock and roll beginning of the season. I mean, like I said, he can come back in week 3 after the Lions host the Chargers. It'd be fine with that. But yeah, it's going to be a big fantasy impact depending on what happens with this guy. So you think he's staying? You think he will be in by the start of the season? Then that's your take.
I don't know if he's going to be in there by the start of the season, but I don't think he's going anywhere right now. I think a lot of teams hopefully have learned a lesson with the whole Le'Veon Bell thing. The Steelers basically got nothing out of that, and now he's a starting running back for the New York Jets. So hopefully some teams have learned about that, and if they can't get him signed, and maybe try to trade him. The only other team I could think of that may want him would maybe be like the Indianapolis Colts or something like that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. No doubt, it's going to be important, and that leads me into my next topic off the top here, which I think is something we got to get into. Chuck, we've talked about your just absolute love for the Dallas Cowboys. I try to temper it on the show because we're basically a fantasy football and a Lions show here on Mondays. But Zeke Elliott, will he be in training camp? Will he be there at the start of the season? Yes or no?
I think he'll be there for the start of the season. I bet you I see him in Cowboys camp, maybe in the 4th preseason game. It seems like they're pretty close now. Jerry Jones did drop a contract to him where it paid him as one of the top 5 running backs in the league. But I think they're going to end up just paying him as the the highest paid running back in the league, which is well deserved. He just get him to a 4-year contract, make it the highest. Then after that 4 years, they can talk about another contract.
Last time I checked, Jerry Jones was saying you don't need a running back to win a Super Bowl. Last time I checked, Jerry Jones was saying, oh, man, I like Tony Pollard. He could be an every down back. I mean, he's putting up a lot of statements there trying to play some hardball. So, what is it? Is it that, or is he just a lot of talk and he's still trying to pay this guy and get him in there? Because it seems like either a lot of both or a lot of posturing from Jerry Jones.
Well, we all know about JJ. He's got the loosest lips in town, dude. He just loves to talk. He loves to focus on him. He'll drop anything down and say one thing just to get the media talking, and then behind the scenes, he's over here doing another thing. You know how Jerry is. He's a businessman, and he just loves to talk. He loves him some him. That's how it is. Like T.O., he loved me some me. That's how Jerry is.
Oh, man. Before we got 2 other quick things before we move on to our main fantasy topics of the day. First of all, did you hear the season predictions where me and Grifka said that the Lions were going to go ahead and take it to your Dallas Cowboys in Ford Field while you'll be there with my season tickets enjoying your sorry-ass Cowboys when the Lions beat the hell out of you?
I heard something like that. Sometimes people hallucinate. It is what it is. Nothing you can do about it when you hallucinate. I don't know what you guys are on, but it should be a good game down there. Last time I went down there, the Cowboys got the victory, and I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, a lot lower than what you two said. But I think Dallas is going to beat them 17-14.
Well, Chuck, the name is the Koolaid Cast, so we're obviously on this.
Drink it in, man.
Along with a side of crackling
Cornbread.
So, I mean, that's where that's coming from. But I don't know why you'd think the Dallas Cowboys and the Lions are going to have a low-scoring shootout with all that offense on the field. But I can't wait to talk to you after that week when we get a big W. Now,
hey, you can win all you want as long as Dallas is in the playoffs.
Oh, man, he's already conceding. I like it. So before we get to our main, I also want your quick take. Word came out today as we were recording, about ready to record. Something about Dak Prescott wanting $40 million. Now, before you respond, this is a family-friendly show. First of all, I know that you Dak Prescott, your favorite player in football. You love him as the America's team quarterback. You can get into that if you want, but $40 million per for Dak Prescott. I mean, I'm a Dak Prescott supporter, and I would barely be paying him in the 25 mils, to keep him around, let alone 40. I mean, what the heck is going on there? That just seemed crazy.
What the Dak? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
40 mil. I was on a Cowboy fan page, and they were going all over it. And all I put in there, I said, hey, can you win something before you demand $40 million? Win something. Go in there, win a couple playoff games. Do something. You haven't won a game without Zeke in that backfield that for a game that really actually counted in forever. I think his record's like what is it, like 5-6 or something ridiculous.
Step your game up.
Yeah, exactly. Step your game up. Earn that money. Don't come over here saying $40 million. Ooh, for what? What did you do yet?
Cannot play with him. Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it.
Is that what you're saying?
Derek, that's just something we probably shouldn't get me started on. That's probably for another show. I could give you a whole film session of me hating on Dak.
All right, well, let's say this. I mean, when it comes to fantasy football, Dak Prescott's been a really good fantasy quarterback, but on the football field, when it compares to these other guys, I mean, for him to just not only try to be the highest paid, but by like $8-10 million is absolutely insane. So WTD, like you said, I mean, what the heck's he thinking? Last quick thing, do you take stock in the preseason? I mean, we got through preseason week 1. Everybody's flipping out about these undrafted players. Oh, look at this rookie. He looks like a stud. I mean, he could come out and be terrible in week 2. I think people just love to overreact. They love to put all this stock in the preseason. I think you basically got to keep your top players where they're at. Maybe you move some guy around a little bit. You want to try to avoid injuries. But what's your take on all the craziness that happens in preseason, as well as the overreaction that just seems to happen every week in the NFL?
Well, that's basically what preseason is. I mean, preseason is just an overreaction. I mean, you'll get a lot of these feel-good stories, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be great. Look at him. He played this. He scored this much, and they'll be like, oh, we should probably draft him higher. Well, no, he's still not going to be a great player right off the bat just because he did a few plays here in fantasy football, but or in the preseason games. But you can't take that from him. I mean, what is it? It's one guy from Cleveland. It's a feel-good story. He was sleeping outside of a gym, and now he lied his way to get into Cleveland, and now he's on the roster right now with the summer contract. I mean, that's a feel-good story, but I'm not going to draft this guy.
No way. Like, say, these people, it just gets crazy this time of year. I mean, Lions fans are freaking out about their performance. And did it look good? No. But when you start looking at, they played absolutely nobody of consequence. Like, even if somebody shines out, I'm not going to go crazy when they're like 3rd, 4th on the depth chart. It's just kind of like, okay, like maybe do that for a month straight and I'll pay attention, but not one random who cares football game. So,
right.
You got to just
in the regular season. Make these plays in the regular season.
And that's my other thing with fantasy is like people moving these top guys up and down their board. Like, oh, I was going to take so-and-so at number 12, but now he had a couple bad weeks or he's hurt in the week 1 of the preseason. They're moving him like late 2nd round. Oh, I'm not drafting him. It's like, really? You're not drafting him because he's hurt in early August, or he maybe didn't show up when he had a couple snaps. I mean, I just think it's crazy. So people out there, keep your guys where they're at. Don't overreact to injuries. Don't fall in love with these low-level players when they have a good week or 2 here early.
Yeah, exactly. Don't try to be a super scout.
Right. So, hey, Chuck, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We're coming back, man. We're going to talk about a big-time league, big-time fantasy league that I'm in. It's a slow draft. It started on Friday. I want to kind of recap who I've taken and why, get your reaction. And then you told me that you have a trade offer on the table that you want to bounce off me and kind of let the people hear, and we'll talk that through. So how about we do all that when we get back from the break?
Let's do it.
What's going on, Detroit Koolaid listeners? By now, most of you have probably heard of Reality Sports Online, the most powerful fantasy sports platform where owners get to build and manage their fantasy team just like an NFL general manager. But the question is, have you tried it? It's time to go see what all the buzz in the Dynasty community is all about. I'm talking free agency, multi-year contracts, a rookie draft, multi-team trades, franchise tags, contract extensions, first-round rookie options, automated contract and salary cap functionality, and much, much more. Think it sounds complicated? It's not. The best thing about Reality Sports Online Fantasy Front Office is it doesn't take any more time than a standard league. It just requires more strategy. Think you're among the fantasy elite? Well, this is the platform to test your mettle. Still not sure? You can test out your general manager skills for free in a mock free agency auction. If you like what you see, use promo code Koolaid, one word lowercase, promo code Koolaid, to receive a 10% discount on your team or league today. Fantasy just got real at realitysportsonline.com. Chuck Dog, man, we're back. Everybody listening to Fantasy Football Flavor here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast platform. We're back, and I want to talk about a fantasy draft. Now, thanks to this podcast, I've been able to make some connections in the football, fantasy football industry. So I'm doing some work, as the people know, for Pro Football Focus this year. I'm excited about that. And also writing articles for Lions Wire as well. So if you haven't seen those fantasy articles, go check out Lions Wire from USA Today and give those a read. Love your reaction on that. But the Pro Football Focus, Chuck, they have in a fantasy league, and I was able to get in it. So I think it's one of those where they got multiple divisions. I think there's over 100 or so people in these leagues, but I got my division of 12, and it started off on Friday, an offline draft. I wanted to tell you who I got and my thought process, and then I know you don't have the soundboard over there, but feel free to critique as you'd like. So, you ready for me to run through this?
Let's do this, Oak. Let's see what you got.
All right, man. So I had the third pick overall, and coming into it, I'm like, man, I'm going to take McCaffrey or Kamara. Those are probably going to be there, assuming Saquon goes off the board first. This is a full point PPR draft, so that does change. That's why, again, Kamara and McCaffrey seem really valuable. They seemed so valuable that the people in my league took them first. Saquads, whatever you want to call them, falls to me at 103. Gotta love that. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't run the card up quicker to the podium. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know. He's going to be defenses will key on him. Have you watched Saquon Barkley? Have you watched him jump over people? Have you watched him run away from people? Have you watched him run over people near the goal line? Like, this guy does it all. He's a supreme talent. You don't worry about that kind of crap when you got a guy like that. So I love that pick. At 210, I had to wait a while. Comes back at 210, and there was a few names on the board, Mike Evans, a few other players, but I just thought it was too good a value to leave a guy there that we just talked about, Antonio Brown. I love the situation. I know he's got some issues going on right now, but I think that's the reason he was still on the board. And I was happy to take him there, knowing that I was going to probably come around and get a good running back on the way back. So starting off the draft with Barkley and Antonio Brown, I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, getting Barkley with the number 3 pick, man, that's highway robbery.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure what these other two guys were thinking of, but Barkley right now, to me, he's the number one player in fantasy football. If you have the number 1 pick, you take Saquon Barkley. It's terrible if you don't take Barkley. So,
did you say terrible?
It's terrible.
That's terrible. That's a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea.
And Chuck, I agree with you.
That's Chuck to Chuck right there. Hold on,
Right there.
Chuck. Did you say terrible? Say it again. We'll do
That's
Chuck.
terrible.
Chuck.
That's terrible. That's a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea.
We have to do that on more shows. Chuck to Chuck. That's good stuff. But yeah, I mean, he goes number 1 everywhere. These guys are overthinking the PPR aspect. I mean, yeah, I like Kamara and I like McCaffrey, but you cannot totally swing your vote just because of the scoring. I thought it, like you said, it was a steal. You've already kind of given your thoughts on Antonio, but Antonio at 210. I mean, people were saying, oh, I would have taken him in the late 3rd round. I'm like, you would have? Because, I mean, 1, he wasn't going to be there, and 2, I was glad he was still there at that point. I mean, he's too far down on a lot of receiver lists. Again, on this list, I think he's at 8. I mean, I'm going to put him at anywhere from 6 to 4 pretty much on my list.
Hey,
Derek, I can't remember where I had him.
This is a full PPR league, too. You said 1 point per reception?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, Antonio Brown is going to get force-fed. He's going to have a ton of catches. I mean, getting him that late in the 2nd round, to me, that's another steal. I like Antonio Brown. Like I said, depending on what receivers were there in the late 1st, he could go in the 1st round. He just depending what's left. Yeah,
I was not only surprised, but, there's some risk value, and that's why you get guys of that type of thing, because you are willing to take. I thought it was a calculated risk. I think his fee will be fine. I think he's going to have a good head on his shoulders when it counts, which is not right now. So those are my first 2 picks. And going into round 3, I was really hoping for Leonard Fournette. That was the guy I had pegged. It was either going to be Fournette, Gurley, or Melvin, because Melvin Gordon was slipping too. And, those are big names. It would have been hard to pass on them in the third round. Melvin Gordon went one pick before me at 302. Shows how much he's fallen. He was going 5-6 overall before all this holdout trade demands. But I was very happy to snag Leonard Fournette at 303. That's the 27th overall pick. I mean, people forgot Leonard Fournette, man. This guy I think he's 23, 24 years old. He's a brick house. He is in an incredible offense, runs the football all day, a day. I loved getting Fournette there. Kind of give me Fournette and Barkley in the backfield with Antonio on the outside. I mean, to me, that was solid. Let me give you the next 4 picks, Chuck, that I made, and then you can kind of think of, give your reaction. So
Okay.
after I got Fournette, I had a long wait till pick 46. So that's the 10th pick in the 4th round of a 12 team. So, of course, a lot of guys came off the board that I liked. This was kind of a tough decision for me, but one thing I want everybody to do is sort of look ahead in their drafts and say, like, all right, when I was picking at the bottom of the round, I kind of looked at the teams below me and said, okay, who can I take right now and who can I get on the way back? So when I looked at it, it felt like I could take a receiver at 410, and then at 503, I was probably either going to take another running back, or I actually liked Deshaun Watson based on the scoring system at 503. So what I did is at 410, I took Chris Godwin. There were a couple other receivers that were in that mix, as well as some running backs, but I think Chris Godwin has a lot of upside. He's kind of one of those guys that hasn't done anything yet, but I think he could blow up. Yeah, 4th, 5th round is a little bit high for him, but I felt the value was there. At 503, I passed up on Watson and a quarterback because I like to wait on him. And this isn't a guy I love, but his stat projections as well as what this team thinks of him, they're super high on him. So Chris Carson, this is a guy that projected to be over 1,000 yards. He doesn't catch the football a ton in a PPR league, but he does do a lot of other things. Seattle has said he's definitely the number 1 still. Rashad Penny has not caught him. So I just thought, hey, let me get a third running back that I can also play in a flex spot in this league. So those are my 2 picks there, and then another big weight. So sure enough, man, my gamble paid off, because at 6'10", the 70th pick overall, Deshaun Watson is still on the board. Yet what do? I look at the teams behind me. One's got a quarterback. Another one has taken 4 running backs and a receiver. So he needs a set of receivers. So I go ahead, and this guy was a little bit farther on the list, but he was projected as the best player at this spot. Sammy Watkins. This is a guy, he's playing with Patty Mahomes. He hasn't blown up. He's actually burned me a couple times in fantasy leagues, but I like taking receivers with upside that are in offenses where you can't double them. It's not like it's Sammy and a bunch of bums. It's a bunch of great players and Sammy, basically, which is a guy who can hopefully blow up this year. So I loved him in that offense with that quarterback. And then at 703, sure enough, my boy's still on the board. Deshaun Watson, was able to get him. Let's see, I was going to consider him at 46 or 51. End up getting him at 75 overall. He was, a huge point getter in this type of league. He can run it. He can throw it. He's in a great offense. The only other guy I was thinking about was, his name is Baker Mayfield, who went probably 2-3 picks before me. Grifka, what do you think about that?
I'm like, that's Baker Mayfield right there. Baker. Yeah. I just want to let you know. He sucks, okay? Yeah, there you go. Mark it down.
So I didn't take Baker Mayfield, but I took Deshaun Watson, and I was happy about that. So, Chuck, I know I ran through it. What do you think about that team so far, about halfway through this draft?
So far, Derek, man, you got some pretty good steals. I like Fournette. Fournette could be a major steal if he can get back to his rookie form. He's not going to give you many PPR points, but he can still run the ball, and he put up a ton of points and touchdowns during his rookie season, so that definitely could be a steal. And Godwin, he was part of my sleeper pick, so I think that's a really good pick. I think he's going to have a really good year out there in Tampa. Chris Carson, yep, that's another good pick. When you get a starting running back that's capable of putting up some good numbers in the 5th round, that's obviously a steal. The only one that I really don't have any comments on is Sammy Watkins. I'm just not a real big fan of him, but I understand why you took him. But and then Deshaun Watson, he's a good guy in the 7th round. He's one of those guys that's gonna give you some 6-point touchdowns too with his legs. So overall, Derek, I think you're doing pretty good all the way up to the 7th round here. Yeah, I like it. I just, like I said, the only one I didn't, but I understand why you took him was Watkins. I'm not a real huge fan of Watkins. And the rest of it looks like a steal. I mean, I'm still trying to get over Barkley at number 3. That's how sad that is. And
I'm actually I'm using a web tool. This is kind of the first time I've used it, where not only does it suggest players as you go through, but it also kind of gives you a grade of kind of where you sit in the overall power ranking standings, whatever you want to call it, kind of as the draft goes. So, they suggest players, they give percentages of sort of, who they would take. Now, I followed those on a couple. Some I went off the board on. But as of right now, in the late 6th, heading into what are we at? I took Watkins in the 7th. So we're actually mid 7th right now. When you click the power rankings, I mean, you got the Detroit Koolaid Oakley squad at the number 1 spot, as well as in the top 2, I believe, for overall dynasty when it comes to dynasty, which this is not. I don't think you can keep any of these guys moving forward, but that just shows that not only do I have the top squad just in regular draft rankings, but I got some young guys too with a bunch of upside. So I feel pretty good about that. The computer is giving me that kind of ranking. Now, let me go back to Sammy Watkins real quick. So you have an issue with him. I said he's burned me. I mean, they paid this guy like $16 million a year. So, when you put that type of investment, obviously they're going to get him the football, and they believe in him. But actually, if this guy wouldn't have gone right before me, I would have taken this guy over Sammy. Jarvis Landry, I thought, again, in that offense, and just he's a PPR monster. He went 1 pick before me, but other guys around Sammy Watkins that I passed by. Tariq Cohen was a running back I considered, but I thought maybe I could leave him on the board until that next pick if I wanted to pass on Watson. Marvin Jones, Tevin Coleman, Eric Mebron, and Dante Pettis are all guys that sort of went after I took Sammy. So I really don't love any of those guys like marginally more than Sammy Biscuits. I mean, he just needs to show up, play big.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the players that are left over, I mean, like I said, I can see why you took them, but I'm in the same boat with you. This guy, every time I needed the big game out of him, he'd have that 1 catch, 12 yards, and you didn't see him again. It'd be like the first play of the game too.
Yeah, a couple years removed from the foot issues, as well as, like I said, if they got Hardman and Tyreek now, they'll be taking the top off, and Sammy can be the forgotten man and kind of just catch some balls. But I'd love to see him get around, 80 to 85 catches, as well as get in the end zone. He did find the end zone, I think, a decent amount towards the back half of last year. But I agree with you. I think that'll probably be the swing player for me right now. If he blows up, it's basically championship. If not, that could hurt me, as well as, people are hating on me for Antonio Brown. But I mean, I think where I got him, as well as, how early we are in the process, like, I'm not too worried. Now, could he miss some games with his feet? Could that hurt me? Sure. But we also had people taking, AJ Green in the 6th, feeling good about it. And I'm like, last time I checked, AJ Green's definitely out for at least 3 to 6 weeks. And you heard what we thought about him a few weeks ago when we talked about him. So, I felt like Sammy's younger, better risk, as well as Antonio Brown, than a guy like AJ, even if you're getting him a few rounds later. So that's my squad. I mean, the rest of the draft, I'm definitely going to be trying to load up on skill players. I'm probably going to wait on both tight ends and my backup quarterback till quite a bit later, until I feel like the value is right. And we'll hit the people up with this team once it's over and kind of give you guys a recap. So, Chuck, man, you said you had a trade on the table. We love trade offers. Let's get into that. What you got?
So this isn't anything to do with me, but this came across my league league homepage, and I looked at it, and I'm like, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this trade. It's not to me, it's between 2 other guys, but so basically this go ahead.
Hold on. How do you see it's an offer that you're able to see, or it's done?
No, it's an offer.
Why do you see offers from other teams? I never heard that in my life.
I don't know. It just comes across. I guess as a commissioner, you can see everything.
Oh man, I hope your league mates are listening. That's straight up some shady business there, Chuck Doc. I got to sound the alarm on you for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I go in there and if I don't like it, I change it. But Come on, man.
What is going on here? You shouldn't be able to see random trades other people are offering.
Talk to Yahoo. I have no idea. So, anyways, let me get on to this. All right. All right. So this is a keeper league. Okay. So somebody offered another owner for Saquon Barkley. Mr. Barkley is terrible. They offered him Gurley, James Conner, Tyreek Hill, and a first-round pick for Barkley.
What?
So talk to me what you think about this trade.
Oh my gosh, this is garbage for so many reasons. Hold on, I don't know if I got a good sound effect for this one, but I might need it because this is like wrong on so many levels. First of all, I mean, again, people in the league, no wonder Chuck's probably finishing, top of the standings. He's be able to review everything that happens before it happens. That's a no-go. Second of all, what are you even considering trading Saquon Barkley for? I mean, the guy's, like you said, the number one pick in fantasy. He's young. That makes no sense. And then the guy that's trading for him, what, you're giving up 3 top talents and a first rounder? I mean, is this Herschel Walker part 2 or what's going on? So I think it's an absolute miss on all 3 levels.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I'd be keeping Barkley. I'd be keeping my other 3 good players and my first rounder if I was the other team. And an upstanding commish like myself not only has no way of seeing it, but would never do such a thing and be able to see trades that are going on with that don't involve themselves. I mean, come on.
We have a voting system on trades. Come on, Derek. Get with the updated programs and
it doesn't matter. Like you can see it, so you could go to the Saquon guy. Hey, I was just curious if you were willing to consider offers of Barkley when you already know he is.
Well, that's who said he was taking offers. Somebody just offered it to him. That doesn't mean he's looking to trade him.
The fact that you can see it is garbage. Anyway.
Well, you're garbage. So anyways, so yeah, no, I see what you're saying. The only thing is that I looked on the guy's team that had Barkley. He doesn't have much else. The only good thing that would be is obviously it would give him, 3 really good players and a first round pick, and it would be like Herschel Walker part 2. I mean, one team will be able to build it, the other one would get a top dog. So I don't know how I feel about that. But
okay, well, note to self to me. First of all, ask Chuck before the show about these trades because this is just an odd trade on so many levels. Second of all, note to self, get in Chuck's leagues because this is a ridiculous trade. It's the only time I'd ever trade Barkley is to some idiot that was going to give up 3 good players and a first rounder or even offer that. And don't get in Chuck's leagues because he knows everything that's happening behind the scenes. But doesn't tell anybody until he's live on the podcast and gives himself.
It's called voting. It's called the voter. You put it. It's in every Yahoo league. It's in like 3 of the 5 that I'm in. And all you do is they put a trade in, and you can see the trade and you vote on it.
Right. Once it's accepted, not just random offers. You can just peruse random offers before they're even accepted. That's not the norm, buddy.
I think you're random.
Oh man, don't make me give you the Grifka music because I'll do it. I think that trade, whoever does it or whoever offered it, deserves some of this.
Where's Todd? Find Todd yet? Have Todd call.
Whoever makes that trade is going to be a loser. And then, did you just bring up Todd?
Yeah, is Todd in?
Hello, my name's Todd.
No, but I've got that gem now on the soundboard forever.
That's
Hello,
awesome.
My name's Todd.
So yeah, no Todd this week, but I'm assuming and hoping that he will be back. So no verbal questions. And Chuck, man, we got to get that Twitter going to yours. We got to get questions from the people. So got to get you out there, man, doing some things.
I'm trying to learn how to use this tweeter. I can't seem to get it going.
Are you decent on Snapface or
I'm on the Facebook right now and I can't seem to get this. this tweeter working.
Oh my gosh, man! Can I get some more technical friends? All these friends I have. Grifka doesn't even own a computer. You're back on the times. The Big Hughes has no idea how to work anything. I mean, I got to get some new friends.
Weren't you the one that just asking me how to fix your auxiliary and how to get some soundboards fixed? And hey, can you come look at this? But you're not technical.
No, that was no. That was me. Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to do the sound.
Right? That was my friend Eric Dokrey.
Yeah, and were you any help when I asked how to do all the soundboard stuff? No. Did I figure it out on my own? Yes. So come on, don't hit me with that. I mean, until you get that Twitter account above.
Wire into the sound bar. I go, you don't use video. Oh, you don't? No.
Oh man. People, this is Chuck just telling lies here. I mean, absolutely garbage. We got to get it off the show, so I'll drop the hammer on him.
That's not a good call. No. You don't like that call. I don't like that call. Not a very good call.
That's not a good call by Chuck. We have had a good show, though. Other than the end here. What you got anything else, man, before we get up out of here? It's about time to close this thing down. It's getting ugly in here.
No, Oak, I'm good.
All right, well, everybody, it was another KO for Oakrey on an incredible show. I got a great team. Show Chuck what's up. I mean, actually dropped the 1-2-3 punch on him. Oh, and then that KO at the end. So everybody, you know who's bringing the knowledge, and you know who's got the magazine. Everybody knows. We'll get up out of here this week for the fantasy football flavor. Hit Chuck up, Chuck_C Reeves 33. You can get at me at Derek Oakrey, DEREK OKRIE. We love your questions. We love all your fantasy talk, and you can always hashtag it Fantasy Koolaid. That'll get to us too. If you got questions, you want to give us a review of the show, all types of stuff. So for me and for Chuck, we're going to go ahead and close this down. We'll catch you guys next Monday talking all things fantasy football right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast platform, fantasy football flavor. Check you guys later. We're out.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions. Drink it in, man.